I mean, look, I'd also like to try to help. I mean, I think that, the America, has a lot of potential one day if we can do the right thing. I'd like to see this country succeed. I'd like to be part of the solution, not part of the problem, and not just, wash my hands of the place and just leave. And so, I am still here, and I'm hoping, that ultimately, the situation will turn around. But I am cognizant of the fact that things are going to get very difficult here. I'm cognizant of the social problems. That's one of the reasons that I live, in the area of Connecticut that I do. And I even mentioned to my brother the other day, and he kind of laughs at me. I said, you really might think about moving out of the city. They live in Brooklyn. So look, I'm worried about it. I just think there's going to be a big increase in crime. I really do. I think as things get tough, and I think as the government starts imposing controls on prices, and that there could be shortages of food and energy and rolling blackouts, and I don't think it's going to be a good environment. And I think people have to worry about that. People. There are people I've talked to about stocking up on things, stocking up on on food and different things like that, or making sure they have ammunition or rifles or shotguns in their homes, or pistols, or some means to defend themselves in case crime steps up. And the cities are going to be in trouble. The states are going to be in trouble. They might not be able to have the budget to hire more police. They might not even be able to retain the police that they currently have and maybe the police aren't going to want to work if the currency collapses. How are they going to get paid? And there are a lot of problems. I am doing things on my own. I am taking some of this into consideration, but at this point, I'm staying and hunkering down and ready to, I'm not abandoning the ship yet. Although certainly financially I've done that. I mean, my money is invested abroad, and I own precious metal stocks. So I've certainly moved my money out of harm's way, even if my body is still here.
But if your money is still in a U.S. account, even though it's in foreign assets, it's still...
Yes, I am still running the risk. I am still running the risk that the U.S. government steals my money. And that's the same risk that my clients are running by keeping their accounts with us. Their accounts are at Pershing. And if the U.S. government seizes our assets, then they're going to seize my assets along with my clients' assets. That would be terrible. Now, that's one of the reasons I have my clients send some of their money to the Perth Mint, because I'm assuming that they're not going to be able to get that money because it's in Australia. And, if some of my clients want to take the extra steps and added precautions of opening up accounts in other countries, I'm not going to say that they shouldn't do that. I mean, I can't help them do that, but if they want to do it on their own, I'm certainly not opposed to that. And there's a lot to be said for moving money out of the country completely, if you're worried about the U.S. government stealing it. And I'm talking about stealing it outright, not stealing it through inflation. Yeah. If they try to steal it through inflation, we're protected by owning foreign assets. I'm talking about where the U.S. government confiscates our brokerage account, just takes them. Now, What they'll probably do is take them and give us dollars. So, they probably just won't take them and give us nothing. They'll give us some dollars, but then the question is, what will those dollars be worth?
Quick question. How different do you think, though, that what might happen to the U.S. will be from, I don't know if you can compare it necessarily to Germany in the 20s or Argentina, because of the U.S. military hegemony, and the world's going to have to make some accommodation to the U.S. I think they can't just let this country go into chaos. It's pretty dangerous for the rest of the world.
We let the Soviet Union collapse. I mean, it didn't create chaos. I don't know. I don't think, what do you think? There's two things that people can think of. Either when the United States collapses, the rest of the world is suddenly going to start, everybody's going to invade everybody because nobody is worried about America doing something. I don't necessarily think that's going to happen. The other thing is, we're going to blackmail everybody. We're going to be so desperate that we're going to threaten the world with nuclear annihilation unless they, buy our bonds and send us more consumer goods. I don't think we're going to do that. I don't think we're bad. I don't think the U.S. is going to do something like that, but I guess there are people who think they would.
Yeah, I guess you never know what might happen.
Go ahead, Brandon.
Hey, Peter, thanks a lot for taking my call. I really enjoyed your show. So there's been plenty of advice given on how to get out of the dollar and how to protect the wealth you've already accumulated, but what about those of us who rely on or are still saving or relying on our current income? So say, by some miracle, we manage to keep our jobs, but wages generally lag inflation. Is there some sort of insurance, or can the average man enter the swap market and find someone to give them euros every month in place of their dollars?
Yeah, I doubt it. Unless you can negotiate with your employer, that you want your wages paid in euros or you want your wages paid in ounces of gold or silver or something like that. The only thing that you can do is, to the extent that you have any savings, that you don't spend all of your money, you convert those savings into real assets, either other currencies or you go buy gold or silver coins. You do that as quickly as you can. That's one way at least to protect your wealth. If you don't want to do that, then unfortunately, you don't want to have savings. Just spend whatever you earn and, spend the excess by stocking up, buy things in advance, buy things you think you might need that aren't going to go bad, or, and just start stocking up. In fact, you can stock up on things that you don't even want, but that other people might want. You can store cigarettes, you can store alcohol. Even if you're not a drinker, somebody might want to drink it, and you can always barter it or do something. But yeah, I think we've got a lot of problems that people have to start trying to protect themselves against.
Yeah, unfortunately, those who just started earning real wages are kind of at the cusp of this disaster, and they don't have time on their side to prepare themselves.
And another thing, somebody talked about, why don't I leave the country? The perfect candidate for somebody leaving the country is somebody young, someone just out of college, with no real ties. Sure, you don't have children, and you can actually venture out and you can look at some of the employment opportunities in other countries, which I think are going to be far greater, unfortunately, than the opportunities that are going to exist in America, because the government is going to stifle those opportunities. The government is going to prevent the companies in the future from being formed, because by trying to artificially reflate the collapsing bubble economy and the phony economy, they're going to prevent a more vibrant real economy from replacing it, and it's very unfortunate.
If your worst case scenario unfolds, which you keep saying that it is, that the dollar is going to become completely wiped out, can you clarify wiped out? Is $100 going to be worth $1?
I don't know. A total wipeout is, the $100 is worth zero. Or practically zero. There's a long way to go. I think best case scenario, at this point, the dollar is still going to lose more than half its value. Even the best case. Maybe best case now might be the dollar loses 60 or 70% of its value from here. Worst case scenario, it loses all of its value. There's a lot of play between that. It all depends on when the government does the right thing, when they turn off the money spigots, when they start to radically increase interest rates and change policy. Now, the longer we wait to change policy, the more difficult it will be to do it, because the more painful it will be to do it. So the longer we travel down this road, the more stimulus and bailout plans that we're passing, the more likely it is that they don't do the right thing ever, and we get the worst case scenario where we completely destroy our currency and it has no or practically no value.
Now, how does the country recover from that? Do they then issue the
I don't know. I don't know how we'll recover from
that point.
I don't know. I don't know how we recover. We may never recover. I don't know. Argentina has never recovered. It's not back to the way it was. Look what happened to Germany. They ended up with Hitler and the Third Reich, and then we had the Second World War. I don't know, we have a very, very challenging future, and I don't know how it's going to play out. I don't know, are we going to cede so much power and so much liberty to government? We may never get out of this mess. Who knows how much more individual liberties we're going to lose in the next 4 years, and how much more power the government is going to grab and seize in the name of trying to help and make things better. Because the worse it gets, the more the government's going to be able to justify its power grab. And believe me, it's going to get really, really bad over the next several years. And that's a very scary thought, because the worse it gets, the more government we're going to get. And the more government we're going to get, the more rights we're going to give up, and the worse it's going to get. And who knows?